Dooby 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 doo. Microphone is clearly on. Alright. Okay. Welcome back to Kartkraft. Or Tom Callan and his obsessive quest to do stupid things. Alright. What the fuck? Currently engaged in a battle for dominance with the cable that attaches the VR helmet to the computer. This is one of the downsides of VR, is having to live with this gigantic cable that wants to ride up everywhere. I'm trying to find a reasonable compromise. What I've done is I've used its own tendency to want to curl itself up into a little ball and make my life miserable. Well, I've decided to take that little ball and put it in my lap. Kinda. So that it routes the cable away from my neck. And then I can focus on driving and not fidgeting with the frickin' cable. Alright, let us begin by examining the online options and seeing that, oh shit, Hanger. Alright, well, we don't like Hanger, but we're great with AMP. We're fine with the Gank, not our favorite place. And Brent is always a hoot. So let's schedule for those, but in the meanwhile, let us go to time trial. Shall we go back? Yeah, I think we'll go back. Back in time, back to a place where once upon a time cattle roamed. And before that, Lord knows. But it sure ain't the bottom of the ocean anymore. It's called Texas. It's a land that's very, very broad and big. In this part, which appears to be North Texas, or, as the track is known, North Texas Carters. Alright, so currently, I have managed to put together a decent lap, but it is elusive. I'm playing around with gearing. Last we spoke, we were at 967, which I suspect is a reasonable place to continue with, so let's do that. We shall make adjustments as we go along. I need to arrive at some sort of conclusion as to music. I don't want something challenging, but I don't want something utterly vapid either. You know what, maybe we're just kind of gonna just go George Winston. Ooh, or we do Solus remixed, but nah, that's gonna be a little bit too bright. Alright, let's go do some George Winston. Let's just listen to some super chill piano. Alright, George. There you go. So the streaming service I use was very pleased to tell me that due to my streaming, he was sent $3 in whatever, December. Which is kind of cool. Not due to you guys watching me, but rather me paying a subscription to them. So, when this inevitably gets taken off because of the reason that it's not, you know. Anyway, the irony is rich. But anyway, I do love George Winston. I don't know where I heard George Winston first, but it goes back to my teenage years. It's something that just sort of you knew about, just was there. I don't know why I came across George Winston. Oh, you know what it was? I think I know what it was. This is going to sound a little nuts, but here we are. Alright, I grew up in Princeton, New Jersey. And there is a place we have that is legendary called the Princeton Record Exchange. It originally started, as I recall, in a tiny little shoebox store at the far end of Nassau Street, up near what's kind of the municipal hall, across from Rockefeller College, in fact. And it was, just this dude and his tiny little store just jam-packed with records. But, he says, being a kind of wannabe hepcat teenager, as it were, and this, of course, being the early 1980s, we're talking, peak, Clash, just, American punk, just early 80s kind of, good stuff. Anyway, this guy had a really great collection of records from stuff that you could not get, in most record stores, which are typically businesses that are catering to, like, for example, Princeton University store. It has a great record collection, but they're not going to be too far off what's commercially available, or what's commercially sellable in this popular music, let's say. Although this is not a fair thing, because I have no idea if that's the case. And in fact, if it was, they probably would have specialties in every section and be really friggin' awesome at it. But you know what I mean. If you get a Target, you're going to get top 100. That's kind of what you're going to get. That's just what it is. So, anyway, this guy in his little store on Nassau Street, full of incredible music, kind of exploded. And, his business premise was simple. It's called Princeton Record Exchange. Fine, bring me the records you have that you don't want, and if I like them in any way, shape, or form, I'll give you some money for them, which you can use for trade or buy-in. So this, of course, was a favorite game of young people with no money. And the guy also just had just an amazing collection of stuff. And he had a great, eye for music of all types, not just really cool, cutting-edge, punk and alternative and whatever you want to call that kind of music, and then, really great classical and really great folk and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, just, whatever you wanted. He had great rare stuff too, I think, even although that was not my bag. But of course, as a fan of, British New Wave, I was always looking for the rare, exclusive, whatever. The latest Morrissey, the latest Smiths single, because that was a game that they played to make money. They kept on re-releasing the same shit over and over again. Morrissey is a wonderful musician, but he's also a bit of a businessman, it would appear. But it also did give him time to do his art graphic design projects. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he did the graphic design for their various albums, which I enjoyed very much. In any case, so I approved on that basis alone, because remember, back in those days, you're buying records, not, NFTs of songs. You were buying a physical object that came in a, 12-inch by 12-inch or however large records were, sleeve. And that sleeve was typically substantive and well-printed, and it had all sorts of great decoration, and it was an art unto itself. And, I'm pleased to say that professionally I've got work that's part of that work, and it was something that was a great experience. When we went and bought a record, it was kind of a big deal. Putting a needle on the record was kind of a big deal. But anyway, where the hell was I going with this story about Princeton Record Exchange? I don't know. Excuse me a bit. I'll come back to it at some point. Yeah, this guy also was smart. He hired young people that were also very opinionated about music and kind of like cool. But these guys and gals had real credibility, as like arbiters of what was cool and kind of what wasn't, in a kind of this narrow little way. So, you kind of paid attention. But I remember buying, I don't know, it was more of an experience. Sometimes you just think, this album really looks cool. I don't know why. There's a chariot full of chickens on fire on the cover, but I'm intrigued. But I really do like graphic design and roundabout. It's something I did for many years, just screwing around. It's complicated. I used to do a lot of photography and journalism and photojournalism and school papers and self-taught digital publishing and digital image manipulation and stuff like that. I was in the early... screwed around with that stuff way back in the old days. Anyway, I ended up working professionally in publishing, sort of a very, very roundabout way. I was the art director of the skateboard magazine. It was pretty good. But also working on speaking of production, I worked with the whole operation in San Francisco for that. I don't know, 5 titles. So we ran a very small ship that published a bunch of internationally distributed magazines on what amounts to shoestring budgets. Young, underpaid, overworked. An opportunity to do something that no one will ever do anywhere else. And I single-handedly did the graphic design, not single-handedly, but my work in the magazine that just blows my mind. I'm not a professional. I was just a kid. Anyway, following some big footsteps here. Guy who followed after me, worked with closely for years. Nico is terrific. He's a not hip-hop, what do you call it? Graffiti. I don't know whatever formal name is, but he's a graffiti artist. And that was his thing. Not like a guy. Big graffitis. Anyway, that was his scene and skateboarder artist. There's been a weird crossover of skateboarding, both in sort of the skateboard punk crossover, which is kind of a California, Arizona thing. So like in the case of Suicidal Tendencies, which is sort of the California connection, and then let's say Jody Foster's Army, which is Brian's band, who was the art director of Thrasher before me. So like those are 2 obvious names. So you have skate punk. Then you also probably have a skate metal connection somewhere. But skate, is less cool. It's more about chicks or Satan. Everything else is just a little aggressive. Although you can throw some horsepower in there, I guess. Ooh. Yeah, no brakes, just steering angle and sending it with the throwing it like I am right now. Oh, that was so nice though. Party had to come to an end. Jesus Christ, look at that dig. Oh yeah. Come on, get around here without fucking it up. Yeah, you fucked it up, but it's still good. Not anymore. That hill. Alright, let's get serious. Producing laps with which we are... From which? No. Laps. Of which. Thank you. Of which we are most clearly capable of producing. We are choosing not to produce because we are known clinically as a numbskull. The North American numbskull is identified by having an inflated sense of competency. Excuse me. Oh, that feels good, by the way, sort of layering into that turn at that impossible angle. Oops. I lose all of my revs going on. I lose all my revs somewhere. Ooh, that was not good. I lost it there. No. Yep, back up. Back it up, okay. That was completely excessive, sir. Not necessary. How is that invalid? I have 2 wheels on. Okay, that makes me sound like a petulant and whining child, which I am. The important thing is to learn from American politics and just media celebrity in general is to not let them see that behavior. Not that, well, you know what I mean. But, no. I'm talking to myself because my stream consists of, maybe mom. But she died many years ago, sadly, so I just kind of removed that possibility. Well, you know, who never could tell. YouTube heaven. Maybe that's where my channel hasn't actually managed to get negative views. Not mom. Sorry. Let me log in and go here. Oh, shut up. It's getting so much better from putting on pallet and the corner. Please stop. Oh, yes. Pushing the corner way too hard. Gosh, that was a really special experience, that little turn. That's not bad either right there. That little catch it and just... Oh, God. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about earlier, by the way. So there's definitively something that has a lip that I'm not seeing. Where was that? What is this thing that I'm hitting that's causing the cart to jump so bad? Oh, these things are just brutal. But what if you hit him at speed? Hang on, I'm just going to drive down. Gosh, that was fun to do. See, at speed they're not bad, so I don't understand. I guess it's just because you go from... Maybe it's just that if your wheel is at an angle to it, so you've got a 90-degree wall, let's say sticking up a centimeter, and let's say your wheel hits it because it's rotated. Yeah, I can see that being a problem. Anyway, so memo to self. snuck that one in there. Fuck that one up, but let's see what I can redeem. Probably not, I'm probably gonna overdrive the hell out of this. Screwed it up, but it was fun while it lasted. Oh, this is so interesting. We should just do a track that's just this, like, just a giant S of these things over and over and over again with variations to, like, track, bank, and radii. God, that'd be fascinating. Why has no one done this? I've seen some crazy stuff, though. Like if you Google go-kart tracks, but we're not looking for racetracks here, folks. We're looking for bizarre recreational tracks. There's some places with these, you see these aerial layouts that are just utterly bonkers. Series of turns that make no rational sense whatsoever. Probably are miserable to drive on by virtue of the fact that who the hell wants to do a 270 turn right followed by a 320 left followed by 10 feet, crazy shit like that. Ooh, that felt good. Sometimes the best thing to do is stop thinking about driving and just do it. Unfortunately, the moment you realize you're driving wrong, you screw yourself up. It's one of those terrible, terrible things. There ought to be a law. My vapor cruise died on me. It's very disappointing. Oh, that would be nice if true, but that was clearly big cheap. No, I can't just roll it in, apparently. It upsets the car too much. Whatever. Thing with 4 wheels. Too much. Make go boing boing. Move like you smoothie. Soft. That kitten. Oh no. It's turkey time. I really need to learn how to do that turn, but I remember that was the brutal thing when I got my last one, when I got number one the last time was it just was so hard to get 100% out of that last turn. I don't know why this friggin' thing is so impossible. If you look at it, let's watch him go by. Boom. So he does a massive corner cut here. The challenge is you really don't have a whole lot of space. First of all, you can't really be here. Like, even with how much he cut, you're still going to find yourself more realistically more middle of track than this, most likely, is my guess. Anyway, so then if you get too aggressive here, and of course you saw what happens to me when you put down too much throttle here, it has this tendency to send you around. Anyway, you don't have a lot of space to work with. And then of course, if you try to, do this kind of stuff, which is what I would normally be doing, well, you can sort of see the problem right here. Look what's happening to my cart. It's utterly bananas how messed up This part is. So, like, you really don't want to be fighting that tide. And unfortunately, that never works out in your favor, so you kind of gotta nail this one just perfect. So I imagine with the Kirby's, instead of it being something like what I did when I set the fastest, I think it's going to be really traditional looking. I think it's going to be somebody not doing massive corner hop, but I could be wrong. Somebody's going to figure out where to fly. Alright, let's try it. Just let George do his thing. Oh god, that's like, there's something that keeps me from just being able to just crank it out of that corner. I can't do it. Hard. You're really narrow, like, you really just can't point wrong at all. If you catch the curve, you're done. This happens by that left. Ooh, hey, oh my goodness. Look at that, folks. Pure luck. That's gotta be quick. Please tell me that's quick. No, it's terrible. Ah, but it was so cool. Like literally the tail got kicked right down into the right angle so that the curb didn't screw you up. Oh, that was awesome. Oh gosh, that was pretty. 9.90. That's not a bad first one at all. Alright, I gotta do something about my vape situation. Let's go see if anyone's there. I have no idea, so we'll just randomly pick something. Here, the 966. This is probably completely wrong, but whatever. See if anyone's there. What if there's... Oh yeah, there are people here. That's no good going wide there. gratuitous corner cutting that's completely unnecessary nor particularly helpful. Oh, come on, I did everything to come to a complete stop to prevent that from being invalid. Alright, in which case, I flaunt your invalidity. I will purposefully drive on the grass. Oh, come on, that's late. Late for the party, bub. Nope. Staring at the curb in front of you there, which is just really stupid. No wonder you get lost in the curb. All you're doing is chasing the curb. That was kind of fun messing around. Not what I'd call good driving on my part. But it's fun nonetheless. Alright, so let's see what... So Brent is in 2 minutes, and I think I'll stick around for that. See who shows up. See if we've got some people to race with. Looks like there was, some people I could race there. Just luck of the draw, I guess. I joined in late, so ended up not really crossing paths with anyone. Only 4 of us on the grid, so who knows? Might be down to 2 in a second, or maybe it goes to 6. We shall see. Every day is exciting here at Camp Callan, where we explore the possibilities of modern go-karting in an online virtual world that features not only extreme sports, but also auditory massage on the part of the Kartkraft waiting room music. This is from the original soundtrack. They recently added a number of tunes. Anyway, it's nice and soothing. Adds gravitas to the moment. You're not going racing, you're going on a crusade. Not just any crusade, a crusade for your sister. Your sister who you love very much. Is an identical twin. Who's also destined to be the next leader of the universe. Ordained by the Space Mother. Anyway. All right. Yes, Brent. Brentomino. Brentomino? I guess it's Brentomino. Anyway, this track is medium long, fast, has technical tight corners, but is fast. Your rolling speed here. So, let us join, but let us consider our gearing a little bit. And I think our gearing ought to be on the 967 side. But I am going to say, you know what, I think that's right. Because if I went shorter, where would that help? It's a lot of speed, but it's bursty speed. Let's do this. Let's do this, folks. Let us see what happens if we dare. Aha! A man in a white helmet. He's dressed in a black suit, which makes him... Oh! Spun. Come on. Let's go. Let's go, bro. Let us go. Okay, so we've got... That is Felix Menard, 1113. Alright, I hear people coming around the bend. We'll just scrub in our tires, though. No, actually, I don't want to do that. I like my tires nice and cold in this game. Let's go get them, boys. We got ourselves a little dog fight here. Whoa, shnikes, we're losing a Spaniard. Or a Frenchman. But this fellow in blue might well be Norwegian. It seems like a particularly... Well, whatever, something you would associate with blue. Oh. Gosh darn it. Come on, get back in the game. I'm gonna go wide. Get on in there. Let's do this. Why are you going to the inside like that? That is not helpful to your cause. Actually, I suck at this corner, so don't listen to me, Mr. Blue Guy. I could actually be fast at this track if I had some inkling of a clue how to do T1. But I don't, and I never will, because I am a stubborn son of a bitch. Also known as stupid dastard. But that's another story, and for another day. Today we will focus on zinging off the wall. I can't see, why is everyone so in love with going wide like that? I'm not into it. So obviously I'm doing it wrong there. So let's think about it for the next pass. Anything behind us? Bonk. That would hurt. Okay, so if you take it from the middle and then this will come off the thing there and then just have it look, that's not convincing a little bit of anything. Ooh, hey. Too much. If we move down this, we can do what? I don't, why would I, no, that's just no. It's like 50 Shades of Nope. I'm just not even looking. I'm just sort of daydreaming. Sorry. I don't want to race against again. Where's everyone? What are you doing? Get out of the pits. Alright, here's somebody coming. Alright, why don't we do this? Just trail him at a respectful distance for a while. And I will make a determination of whether he's on it. That's right, we have to use the track. Yeah. Ooh, darn it! Zinger. Schnikes. Kapow. I know that feeling. Alright. Let's see, maybe if I wait here patiently. No, come on, let's do it again. Oh, I did a terrible turn. I'm sorry, sir. That was not a good role model there. Some things when I scale them back just don't work that well for me, am I, sir? choke. My throttle stuff is not quite right here. My timing is not gentle. You know, like when your timing is right, it just all sort of feels really silky and it's all kind of effortless when it feels like you have to work a corner as you're forcing things. I mean, to a certain extent, the faster you go, almost like the calmer your hands are, and slower your heart is. Almost because it's like, if you think about it, you just drop into this very, every little bit matters. The moment is I held that one a little too hard. I'm asking a lot of the cart here, though. I'm not giving her the smoothest ride. Whip. So you get somewhere down in the 30s is where people are. 30 point what? I don't know. We'll get that. Lift here, you'd there. Alright, and then you would lift here, turn, get back on the gas, okay, and just alright. Ocho and oh-ho or cart. Well, anyway, it's kind of cool. OH0055. So that's maybe boobs? No, or boo-boo? Or ooh-hoo? Or just like a little cart. Anyway, Felix Menard 113 and Spiderwee. Alright, so Arachnid, they. Sadly, they may have been registered, but not interested in actually doing anything. So let's see, is anyone gonna go do PFI and K100? You know what? We might as well. Why? Because life is short. And 100cc is always interesting. Even if I don't particularly like how I have my current setup. It feels springy. Does not feel crisp. This is also a fundamental problem with many things. I don't know, there's a sharpness to the X30 that's lacking in the K100, but it's more, I think it's very much setup related currently. Because I do enjoy the K100 a lot. Just not liking how I'm driving the cart, or rather the cart is driving right now. I might need to play with the seat height. I might need to, I don't know, if possible, take away grip somewhere. And it's the thing, there's so much grip in this game. It seems like there is. Or maybe the cart's just really good at, exaggerating the awesomeness of, okay, so we are doing K100. And we're at a place like, we're at a long track. Alright, so what do you do on a long track with K100? No bloody clue. So normally I would do this 964. So let's do, I don't know. Let's do something absurd like 965. It's probably terrible gearing for here, but what the hell? See if we're any other takers. Yeah, okay, so it's me, but me and whom? Is anyone in here with me? Did they put it? No, they didn't. Good. Where's my number 2? Oh, I'm all alone. That's disappointing. Alright, well, since I'm here, I'll do a lap. PFI is such a different animal in K1. 100. Then in X30, the difference in top speed makes things that are kind of hairball in X30 really tame, comparatively speaking. So I'll be very specific with each turn as we go through this. That's just me being clueless about doing this, which takes practice, etc. Alright, so this part is basically the same. Turning here is a little bit harder, obviously, in the X30 because of the speed. This is basically the same. This part here is harder in the X30 because you're carrying more speed and it wants to go wide. These are the same. Faster entry speed in X30, so they're a little harder to nail. Generally speaking, I'd say those are easier to be consistent. This is very hard in X30. I think probably one of the capstones of the track is being able to put a fast sector time there. That's your ticket to ride. And then of course there's S3, which I currently am not well versed at, but here's a tolerable one, I suppose. I mean, not fast, but there it is. Alright, that's a terrible lap, but 103 point something, but the tail kicks a lot harder in the back in the X30 on some of these turns. It's less savage in the tail. Oh, come on, man. You're doing a different layout. You can't... I just spent, I don't know, a good solid week hammering away at PFI Classic that is a completely different S3, which is why I'm apparently such utter crap at S3 here, because I keep approaching it the same way that I would approach a completely different final layout, which has a totally different entry, and then ultimately kind of a very different exit. But our job is not to cry about things, but rather to go out and overcome our deficiencies. And drive like the proverbial wind, bringing honor to not only our family, but also to our clan, our dojo. And our kind and loving sponsors, which are today none, because I don't monetize my shit. Because who the hell wants to pay money to watch, well, you know what I mean, watch ads. Personally, I do not, and however, I have a membership or whatever you call it, and I subscribe to YouTube, Super Prime, Voodoo Plus. I don't do their TV package, but I would be willing to try it, I suppose. It just didn't seem compellingly priced. I'm not interested in having a TV package. What I'm interested in is an interesting new source of stuff. But not just another source. We seem to have gone absolutely batshit bananas with the amount of choice we have. You know, I've tried to operate on the Amazon Netflix model for a very long time because it's simple, but yet I now have HBO Plus and Apple TV and it's just all this shit. It's just starting to get annoying. Like this turn, when we do it, it's just annoying. It just makes you want to go out and just be mean to children. Ah, kid, you're slow. And never going to amount to anything. That's awful. Why would you do that? What is this impulse that we have to be miserable bastards? I mean, mean to people. Why do we do that? So unpleasant. Well, we don't, as a general rule, do that, but why do some? Why does that human emotion even exist? To make yourself feel good by making yourself feel worse by hurting other people. Such a weird... Anyway, let's not go philosophically down any weird rabbit holes. Let's concentrate on apexes and anecdotes. Alright, anecdotes. Let us think of a good one. I don't have any. But I will say that PFI is indeed a bucket list track, in my humble opinion. A guy I know, not very well, but a guy that I know professionally, for want of a better term, through racing, is a fellow who has Mr. Justin, who has an objective in his, I guess, to do. I'm not sure what his stated goals are, but whether there's a time limitation to this particular shenanigan that he's trying to pull off. But he is trying to race in a real kart race, or as close as humanly possible, in every state in our country, and has been working very actively towards this goal. Part of what makes this possible for Mr. Dittrich is that he is a race director for one of the big national series, or many of them. I mean, Justin's been, as I tease him, a flag dancer for a long time. I mean, ever since I've known him, which isn't very long, but I'm 52 years old, so my 8 years or whatever it is doesn't seem like very long, but you're dealing with someone who's maybe 28? Yeah, it's a while. Anyway, so he travels a lot to races all around the country. So, and, obviously knows a lot of people, and, has successfully made appeals on, I guess, social media of various sorts, because there's a good place called Kartkraft that's sort of been documenting his travels and posts here and there. Anyway, the reason why I bring him up is, I think, obviously PFI is a destination pipe dream track for us non-Euros, right? It's sort of one that you see whenever you turn on your European karting coverage, that there's what would appear to be a British series, at least, that does really great coverage. Anyway, so from, because you see PFI there, it just seems to be a perennial favorite. It seems to be like one of England's, or Europe in general's, greatest tracks. So, all of us want to go here. We'll try it at some point. Anyway, Justin managed to get his ass into Club 100. So he went to London and did a Club 100 race in the United Kingdom. He managed to get himself a spot for one race, and apparently that was just incredible. Club 100, FYI, is, for those of you who don't know, it's It's a public karting league that uses 100cc little detuned Rotax thingamajobbers, I think. So they're peppy rental race carts. And it is run... It's called Club 100, I guess, because it's 100cc, and it's run in very large grids at a series of tracks within some reasonable radius within England proper, I believe. And is very, 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 very popular and very, very, very oversubscribed. So, y'alls are lucky in the United Kingdom to even have such a crazy thing. Anyway, it was made popular more broadly outside the United Kingdom, I would guess, by the YouTubers. So folks like Steve, whose handle is, I can't remember, but there's a gentleman, Steve, who's an English fellow who does a lot of sim racing, similar to Jimmy Broadbent, but also does, or did, quite a bit of kart racing stuff. Sort of got into the kart racing bit and did that well, very well. Very well indeed, sort of in that English racing kind of series that I was talking about, who's, I think, one of these Club 100 guys, and then graduated into more peppy race karts and is doing, last I saw, X30, but he may, like Jimmy Broadbent, have graduated even from that in recent times. Jimmy Broadbent was definitively a sim racer, not and never claimed to be anyone who had any sort of foot in real racing, I don't think, and sort of just a general enjoyer of various vehicles. But anyway, he did sim racing, and then kind of in a roundabout way, because of this guy Steve, I think, also was able to transition into real racing, or rather real karting, and into this Club 100 scene, which was an instant, great way for someone to get introduced to, racing and real racing, because those are big grids of very skilled people, and lots of them. So, good fun. Anyway, 100cc is kind of a hoot. It really is in many ways the ideal club engine, because it's powerful enough that you feel like you're racing up a race engine. I mean, much as I love four-stroke, don't get me wrong, I love rental engines, I love rental cards, I think I could love LO206 if I had one that functioned properly, but that's a different story. But just in general, I do love that four-stroke power in its own weird way. There's sort of this, I don't know, I've never driven one of these crazy super compression nut job dirt engines, so whatever I say here applies strictly to industrial, detuned, or, whatever, the typical four-stroke, even a Briggs. There's just, the cars are driven for momentum, so you're driving not for crazy acceleration, you're driving just to keep that going, just keep the revs going as best you possibly can and never let go. So there's just kind of like a droning to them, like a rumbling. And one of the things when I watch videos of karting, particularly four-stroke, when it's my laps, it just puts me right to sleep. It's just like the world's most relaxing thing. Whereas, X30 on the pipe at, 16,000 RPM is going, ah! It's fabulous. K100, I don't know, but I've done the, whatever, their direct competitor, the other one that's used a lot down south, Florida, etc. Anyway, I went to DKC in Texas and drove the engine out there for a day. and really, really like the 100cc. To me, on track at that level of skill that I was at, let's say at that point, which was reasonably good, but definitely not super advanced or anything, but reasonably competent. I would say felt to me at the time like 90% of the fun of an X30, and I think that's a compelling value proposition, considering the fact that the engines are really kind of bulletproof, relatively speaking. TJ was telling a guy I know not that I know, but a guy that posts on the internet a lot about karting on Kartpulse, who's a former pro, described doing a full season as a pro racer in the big national race, SCUSA stuff at on one top end. Like they didn't have to really do anything. Very nice. So the pro seems to like the engine too. There's a guy, Xander Clemens, who's been putting together some unbelievably good karting coverage called Kart Chaser, Kart Chaser. Look it up on YouTube. This guy has gone to great lengths to provide, I would say, almost broadcast quality level type coverage of the big kart races. But he's a very smart fellow, because he's gone beyond just providing good coverage of the races, providing really good, interesting look behind the scenes, a lot of interactivity with the racers, a lot of interactivity with the world surrounding the racers themselves. If you do any racing, you'll know that racing is not an individual sport, generally speaking. There is a big team of people, particularly when you are racing at the national level. Guys like Ryan Norberg are hired employees, if you will, of Rollins and RPG. So those are big operations. But even not big operations, if it's the proverbial guy in the back of a truck, it's him, but it's probably not just him alone, and certainly not at the national level. But anyway. I digress. What am I doing? Looks like no one's doing that stuff anymore, so maybe I can just go drive something. That's so funny. I've got this one YouTube video that somehow accidentally got picked up by the YouTube algorithm and went to 15,000 views, and it's a lap I did in KO100 of PF5 of all things. And it's not like it's like the world's fastest lap or anything. It was a 102 something, so it's obviously a good lap, but it's not like number one global. For some reason, the algorithm decided that it wanted to use this lap to recommend whatever. Strangest goddamn thing. Going from like having 0 views to like bam. Like, what is going on? 1,000 people just viewed this today. I'm kidding, but yeah, I mean, I have no illusions. No one is going to YouTube looking up Kartkraft laps because they're looking for. They're not going to be entertained by my stuff. It is boring. This is presumably for people who are doing the game who want to see how other people are driving. And if you're doing you're trying to figure out how to drive in sim, one of the things you're going to do, or if you're just figuring out how to drive in general, one of the things you're going to do is you're going to read up on stuff, and you're going to be looking for examples of, okay, well, show me what's correct. And the stuff that I generally speaking put up on video are, fast laps. They're global top 10s typically, or something like that. So, they're quick laps. They're something that 95% of the people, going to the leader, going to the check out the videos are going to be able to get something useful out of it if they're trying to figure out, gee, I'm having trouble in this turn. What's it supposed to look like when it's done correctly, or at least, semi-correctly? And, that's the point. Once you get towards the top of the leaderboards, the difference between first place. Well, let's take an example. Let's just go take a look at PFI. Alright, so top of the leaderboard global, the difference between first place and second place is measured in hundredths of a second. Actually in this case 7.4888, so whatever, tenth. The gaps are pretty tight. Tenths and hundredths. Look at that. That's so funny. And went exactly the same lap speed as this guy, Fozzie Lad. But anyway, there's like just this massive group of people, within hundreds of each other, as you can see here. So, anyway, racing just kind of boils down to that, where as you get faster, there's compression. There's not a lot of dispersion in lap time. So, but then you always have outliers. Thus the term alien. Somebody who manages to always be quarter to a second, half a second faster than everyone else. I have my buddy Tongi, and the fun thing is he's like that in real life too. So, Tongi was obviously very fast when he was younger. And so he moves out to the US to come to work, and he's living in Manhattan, so we become buddies. I guess we became buddies through Kartkraft, right? Because he was obviously very, very fast, being an alien, and I was an enthusiastic new sim racer, and just kind of warmed to the fact he was a young adult that was also French, and that's my background as well. So anyway, when Tongi came out here, I started taking him to rental races and stuff like that. The thing that was so cool about Tongi is at the time he was pretty overweight. He was working on losing weight, but he was 200 plus. I think he was like 210 or something like that. And I think he managed to set the course record at a JMP. Maybe not at 210, but I think he might have done it at 200. I think he might have done it at 200 pounds. For that month. So not the course record, sorry. There's a fastest lap of the month, or whatever, or quarter. Anyway, I think Tongi got that on this one endurance race we did, which was pretty impressive. There's footage of him rental racing on YouTube if you're interested, and it's just, the way he drives is just so goddamn smooth. I just saw him do some two-stroke as well. He's just in a rental cart. He's just unbelievably smooth looking. Saw a Spaniard actually in an indoor rental place that was like some other kind of like pro rental level, pro racer kind of guy doing this stuff. Unbelievably smooth. So what am I good for here? 57.174? I don't know, I might as well go do this a little bit. Let's go do it and face off. Alright, oh, that's pretty terrible. Right, because theoretically I previously was, 53? 54? No, I think it was 53. Well, we'll see. I was still 3/10 off Tongi, but he had some absurd time. I think briefly Tongi and what's the other one that was incredible? There's a bunch of guys who used to, men and women, or boys and girls, I don't know. Various people whose names do not betray much information about them, who are quite quick. There's one that was close almost as fast as Tongi. They would go back and forth a bit. And not... Tongi usually always went out. It was so freaking annoying. If you wanted to put down a really fast lap, you gave him an hour and then it was done. Meanwhile, I'd obsessed 3 weeks over 1/8. And be so fucking grateful when I got it. The joys of extreme talent and experience. What do I want to do here? 965. Anyways, the funny thing with driving is it's all just experience. And it's not that. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but experience is a lot of it. Just doing it. Racing is very much so, I think. Racing is all experience. Racing is just nothing but a bunch of individual experiences all strung together in periods of just lapping. I mean, it's not making any sense, but racing in some ways is almost easier, I think, than time trial. Time trials are trying to eke everything you can out of something to the point where it becomes a, you know, like it's a need as opposed to a want or a nice to have. Excuse me. And that really matters, right? Because the mental pressure that you put on yourself in time trial is a lot different, I think, than the mental pressure you put on yourself in a race against other people. In a race against other people, you're driving to the crowd, right? You're not necessarily going to go, 105% if that's not required. You're going to put down the laps that you need to put down, and you're going to try to be smart about it because, well, the way shit goes in racing is you never can tell when there's just something stupid or weird unexpected is going to happen, so you tend to be reasonably conservative in your decision making, in my humble experience, for the most part. Which isn't much, but it's something. Which makes me happy as a human being. So where would we be without racing? Would we be any better off as human beings? Well, I think you could make an argument that racing is not necessarily eco-positive. However, ... Racing does fulfill a very basic primal need of human beings. I'm not sure how we would fulfill this without scientifically advanced vehicles capable of delivering 90 tons of horsepower in very small packages that are extremely efficient. But I am willing to battle my electronic overlords, because, boy, that torque. Also, the idea that, I think what makes motorsport glorious, though, is it's just batshit variety. I mean, you really think about top fuel dragsters. I mean, I know next to nothing about them other than they're basically one-time 10,000 horsepower bombs. This is just utterly nuts if you think about it. Making a car is sole purpose is to, make it down and run track once or something, or twice, whatever it is that they have to be able to do, and then the whole thing seizes in a glorious mess of throwing pistons and presumably magma. How does one want to approach this crazy ass corner? That feels like a reasonable way that I just did it. Although I don't like that top shape there, and I don't like this angle here at all. And coming down like that. think 964 might in fact be the call here. I don't think 965 is working. But then again, like, I haven't been driving particularly well yet, so it's also part of the problem. So perhaps if I focus a little bit on that particular challenge, although what I think has been happening is I just get so used to everything falling apart in S3 that I just sort of start dreaming. So, what I need to do is channel one of these sort of more zen approaches. I think you really need to be that way about driving in general, which is zen. I'm sure it's just like anything else. The more you try, or the more you want, rather. Not necessarily the more you try. That is something I've debated much about. Something that you, dear watcher, may not appreciate is that there was a time when I was considerably more shall we say, committed to going round and round in circles in sim. And just an absurd amount of sim racing. I did like something nuts. I think I did 500 plus races in 6 months on iRacing. Yeah, averaged that one out on a daily basis. So, I did take it to some pretty extreme lengths and really dive into it. And I had a lot of fun with it. But I am pretty chill about it though too, right? Which is I'm not like, what do we do with this? Nothing. The thing is that as something to keep you kind of in the game mentally and physically for regular karting, it is actually, I find, really useful. I jump between go-karts in real life and Kartkraft all the time and don't have any problem doing so. I'm fully aware that they're different things, and that different rules apply, and the things that I do in Kartkraft would never fly in real life. You can't be doing what I just did there, or like this kind of stuff. Just like I drive very aggressive. Like I'm rotating the hell out of the car, to get into these turns. In ways that, are they inaccurate? No, they're totally accurate in their own crazy way, but they're not necessarily accurate of how you're necessarily going to be driving in real life, like what I just did there. Like, I've been to Atlanta Motorsports Park after spending a lot of time on AMP here in the game, and while the track is perfect, the thing that is different about the track as opposed to real life, well, it's twofold, which is one, the sense of, what do you call it, slope. AMP in real life is very rolling, very. And, for example, turn 2? Is that 1, 2? Yeah, turn 2 is... a very steep drop, kind of almost like roller coastery, and you can get air there if you're so inclined. So, yeah, you don't get that. And then, what else don't you get? Most importantly, what you don't get are the curbs. So the curbing here in this game, here we're playing with curbing. That seems at low speed to be nasty, but in reality, at high speed, it's not. Tangi explained to me that in VR, textures, it's complicated, but you can't really make complicated things that cause lots and lots of frames to have to be drawn or calculated. This causes issues. So curbs in Kartkraft, and I think in Sims in general, are not physical objects, they're textures. Because they just don't have quite yet the ability to give us real surface here. So these things have their own weird behaviors and their own weird set of rules. In Sim, particular in Kartkraft, it has had moments where the physics have been utterly crazy. Well, not utterly crazy. There have been moments where the curve physics were bonkers, like you would flip really easily. Nowadays, yeah, can you flip on curves? Of course you can. If you hit them wrong here and ride them wrong, they'll flip you over. But it's not like it used to be where if you looked at them sideways in the slightest, they would launch you, like this one here. It still does. Right, but it's not, I mean, there it was because the nose cone caught the seam, basically, on the other end here. But it's not flipping me because, you know, the cart was so balanced, so poised to flip over for some other reason. Anyway, neither here nor there. I find that the cart flippiness now to be completely normal and fine and not at all problematic, as you can see as I'm mashing away at curbs. I deserve that. Actually kind of hurt my wrist. Slippy there. Yeah, I don't want to change gearing. It's getting late though. Well, we want to go 964, so let's do a couple more laps 964, but then we got to go to bed. So let's go to return to bits. Let's go to vehicle setup. Let's go to load setup. Alright, there's the 964. Now, we'll start this. when I return. Just a moment. Ouch, sorry. Actually, I better get going. Tomorrow's work day. See y'all tomorrow.